Alright, let's get started. Welcome everyone. I hope everyone's going well. I've just had a couple of technical issues already. So we might as well jump straight into it. I am going to be focusing on the API today, but not necessarily exactly the API. We've got to do some permission stuff first. Now, I'm just wondering why YouTube is just taking forever for the video to load. I just think it's a problem on YouTube's side of things. So I'm just going to keep moving on. Alright, so I've started porting in the API for the new version. As you can see, it's just the basic sort of stuff at the moment. Have not done anything. This is literally just copying the coffee view sets, which is just an Easter egg in NearBeach. But it's good to actually use as a sort of testing ground, and also just to copy exactly how we're laying things out. So what I want to do is continue with this, but we have permissions to deal with. So if we go into the old NearBeach, we go into NearBeach, Views, API, version 0. Let's go through this whole process, Views, API, like property, project right here. You can see we've done quite a lot. We're going to have to change a fair amount of this. For example, with the create, yeah, we won't need a lot of this. It'll be quite literally just the project name and the group that you want to assign to. Thank you, Socks. Can you stop jumping on my mouse? No, because you jumped on my mouse. Anyway, and then we're gonna do the serializer and stuff like that. However, that being said, a lot of this is going to be simpler. And what I mean by that is we'll be dealing with the create. We'll be dealing with patch when we want to update stuff. So it doesn't need to be the full set of things. So yeah, and we're trying to strip back as much as possible. So yeah, now what we could potentially do is when we create a lot of objects, let's go to draw. All right, so when we create objects, yeah, that's, yeah. We'll just pretend that's legible. We only really need the name. And the group assignment. Now, this will be for projects, tasks, Kanban boards, and so forth at that. Pretty much all parent object. Because that's how everything is sort of connected in and so forth at that. So, this being said, I am having a think at the moment. I might just create a generic sort of create object serializer, and it's only going to have the name and the group that it's assigned to. Now, when dealing with child objects, we might have a child object serializer. So, a good example would be a Kanban card. So, with the Kanban cards, they rely on the parent object permission, in which case we will, do that differently. Anyway, I've just been giving this a good deep thought of how I'm going to tackle this problem. So that way it makes sense. That way the code's going to be a lot less confusing too. We're not having certain cases where, oh, by the way, if it's a post that we have these particular conditions and stuff like that. If it's a post, you'll be like, oh, cool, I use the create object serialization. If it's everything else, oh, great, I've got a generic object serialization for that. And that's another thing is we've got to look at the generic stuff too, to be like, cool, can we use a generic serializer? We can't. We can make everything as generic as possible, so we can abstract out all the generic fields, but there are certain fields like project status, task status, and stuff like that, which is very unique for that serializer. So, yeah. It's the joys of trying to get this up and running. Oops, I keep dropping the pen, don't I? It sucks. Alright, you're not going to jump on my mouse again? She loves jumping on the mouse. Alright, and welcome back everyone. So, we're getting straight into it again. So, one thing I might do with the create is do a generic serializer for it. Doesn't need to be connected to anything. We just need to handle the create process, which isn't hard to do. It won't be hard at all. Yeah, we just got to go, all right, cool. If it's a project, create a project, done. Every other major field will, we'll have a request user come through and stuff like that. So we are blocked from permissions point of view though. I want to get the permissions sort of thought out first. I've got to find my I had a cord for my Wacom tablet. I've lost it. It's somewhere in the house. I've got to find it. So permissions, we'll have several different cases. We'll have a destination, sometimes a location, and sometimes, oh well, not many where you have neither. In those cases where it's neither, you're looking at more complicated permissions. So, well, not complicated, that's the wrong word. You're looking at different permissions. So, for example, if you're doing admin stuff, you would be looking at the admin, seeing if the user is an admin. But searching, for example, doesn't have permissions. So, yeah. You okay there, Socks? Just saying, no. Alright, so I'm just giving myself a bit of a thought process. So we'll need destination location. Sometimes this will be optional. So if we go into here, we want to make this as generic as possible too, because there will be some locations where we won't know what the destination is. And in this sort of case also, I don't know if I can get to that information. So I'm just going to open up this. We're actually going to go and open up the decorators. We're going to go check permissions, and we have API permissions here. I'm just going to raw that, and what I'm going to do is now that's going to return none. We don't need that. So this is check user API permissions is just a simple function. We don't have partials for this at the moment, but we'll go through this. We're going to comment out any code that is old code. We're going to figure this out, see if we can actually get the data we need. Remember, we are simplifying this process. So fingers crossed, we simplify this code and we no longer need this sort of detail with the code. So, okay. What I want to do, I also want to open up the URLs. Now, we have API internal, API public. For example, this won't be used going out in the public. We won't actually be documenting any of these endpoints or anything like that. Sure, people will be able to find them. Sure, people will be able to source their the shape of everything and so forth. That, and sure, people will be able to eventually be able to do curl commands and stuff like that to them. That's going to happen no matter what. Yeah, but we can't help that. This one, that's dealing with the route for the coffee. We want to also route register the project. So I'm going to do that right now. So we've got project view set, yeah. So I'm quite happy with that. And what I want to do, just do that. Yep, we're all happy. I don't know if this will run at the moment. I think it'll fail because we don't have everything in place. Oh, it didn't. All right. Call me surprised. All right. I want to fix what's in here first. So we've got the URL string, request path, and all that kind of stuff. We've got the destination. We've got all of that. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to do that. Let's say variables equals hello world. I'm just putting a breakpoint right there so I can read the request. Let's go forth like that. Any other of this I don't need. Once we can reference this and so forth like that. So I'm not too fussed about any of this. What I do want though is I want to include the API permission in here. Oops, you okay, Socks? You're trying to beep beep to me. I'm just going to get rid of everything we don't need. And I don't know if YouTube's working or not. I'm not getting my feedback on YouTube. It says I'm live. But and that's out. There we go. All right, cool. Sorry, technical issues up the wazoo. From here, what I want to do, from NearBeach.decorators.checkUserPermissions.API permissions import check user API permissions. Easy done. And then down here, what we want to do, at check user API, We need that to be a 3 because it is a create, and we'll get rid of these magic numbers very shortly. That is one thing which I do want to get rid of. So that way, when people look at this, they're like, oh, okay, that's what these numbers actually mean. So, yeah. Now, we've got an API permission. We've got that on there. We've got that on there. I'm just going to go to localhost. All right, I need to log in, so I'm just going to log in as the admin. I need 2FA, so give me a couple of seconds. I'm just going to our mail trap, just logging in. And Evil in the Void, hello, hopefully you're going well. Happy NearBeaching today? Yeah. We just got to do the 2FA. Which we set up a few weeks ago, so I'm happy with this. Don't worry about that. We're not worried about that at all. What we want to do, API version 1. I can't type, and then we just want project. So no default. Oh, another thing I did the other day off stream was I added in throttling. And it wasn't too hard. It was fairly benign. It was fairly easy. So if we go up here, we go into our local, we go into our settings. Helpful links, yada, yada, yada. Oh, that's with, all right, yep. Oh. Somewhere in here. Here we go. I just added in a little bit of this, and then I registered a few other things. So another thing which I should register is if throttle user minute in os.environ. And then we want throttle user minute equals all of that. Yeah, we're fine with that. Otherwise, what we're going to do is throttle user minute equals 100 per minute. And that's plenty enough in a minute. If you're hitting that, then clearly you're doing something. So, yeah. I've started working on a thing like Pi-hole that Blockstax adds via DNS. Yeah, I remember using Pi-hole a while ago now. Back on, I think, my Raspberry Pi 1. That's how long ago I did it. But it also acts like a router that blocks any IP addresses that wasn't resolved through the DNS filter. Okay. Nice. How is Pi-hole going? Alright, we just got to no default res set for anon scope. Ooh. I'm just going to do 0 per minute. And I'm going to stop and rerun. This might be one of those things where I need to actually specify that there aren't any anonymous allowed here. Error page not found. Oh, all right. Is it because I need a... Yeah, I just needed a /. All right. The second part is because some apps use their own DNS resolver. Now I'm just gonna do that. Yeah, all right, so what I'm going to do in here is we did something with the other APIs the other day. So I'm gonna have a look at what I did. Give me 2 seconds. That would be under views, API. This will be part of authentication. We did this allow any permission classes, and authentication classes we put in. And I feel like we've got to include those here because we don't want any anonymous. Django REST framework. We should have default authentication classes in the settings. Session, basic auth, token auth. Yeah, we do. It might be easier just to go anon 0 per minute. We do have the override, which if I, there we go. Yeah, authentication credentials were not provided. And if I move that down to 1, okay, so it blocks before it does the throttling. I've just got to make sure it doesn't. Actually, I'll go dark admin. All right, so that worked perfectly fine. Yeah, I've just got to make sure it doesn't throttle the user. Trying to log in type of situation. I'm just going to log out. Don't sit on the keyboard and mouse. I will have to build this back in. I will be building this back in very shortly. So, yep. Alright, it should be doing 2FA, 2FA. Yeah, alright, so it hasn't ruined that, which is great, which is what we want. I don't have an endpoint to test the 1 per minute. The reason why I said 0 per minute is, why I didn't say 0 per minute. So I'm wondering if I do a 0, it counts as infinite, which is not what we want, which is why I did 1 per minute. Knowing we've also got the permissions on top of that. All right, so here we are with this. I'm gonna see if chill hop is working. No. Still not working. All right. So this is what we want. However, that being said, I also want to grab this. I'm going to place this appropriately. So it should be, so we'll be creating, we'll be deleting, we will list all search results, we'll be doing updates, and we'll be grabbing one of them. All right, cool. So yeah, those are all the endpoints that we want. If I hit refresh, now we've hit the breakpoint. This is where I want to see the request. So in the request, we've got no files. We've not got none of that. We've got no data. Yeah, we've got no args. Yeah, there's no way we can tell this is coming from for a project. Oh, hang on. Pass it on. I piss it off. I absolutely hate the clicking on this sometimes because you go to click something and it just closes it like that. I mean, what the fuck? I wonder if I can get there. But also at the same time, I can get the request URL which will contain the destination, but it's not the way we used to do it. Yeah, we used to pass some information through. I mean, we've got the, oh my god, I'm really sick and tired of JetBrains' lack of, you have to be exact when clicking on stuff. Not when the icon appears. So what I'm looking for is something which I can determine the destination and the location ID without having to pass it through. I want that to be an automatic process. Now, in reality, it could potentially read it from the you can automatically read it from the URL. We just need to strip out the first parts. Which will be helpful. So then we could start doing stuff. We've got the parent objects out the front. So customer, organization, project, task, request for change, Kanban board, and so forth at that. And hello, Mohammed, how are you going? So I can get that from the URL. But it looks like I've got no quags and args and stuff like that. Yeah, I've got no quags. And that's all I've got, the request. Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, I can't complain. I'm just figuring out a problem. So the URL will always be API version 0. Then you've got the parent destination. Then you always have the location ID. Then if you have a child object, you'll then have child dest and child location. Set up like that. Now, it's not hard going grab the third out of this string item and grab the fourth if it exists. Just trying to think how I can elegantly put it in here. And what I can actually get to. JetBrains, fix your shit. Alright, we don't have any query params or anything like that. I don't even think I passed through min permission level, which is annoying. Because yeah, we've got it set here. Oh, sorry. Oh. Alright, I'm just doing that. I'm just gonna hit play. I'm gonna let it cycle through. Oh, sorry. In fact, we're doing that. It should be complete now, so I'm just going to refresh. There it goes. So we've hit this again. So the min permission level is a 1. All right, cool. So we are passing it through. So we've got to determine whether this is a okay, I'm just gonna write this down. I think I just need to think out loud. I'm just gonna turn on the fan. Sorry, it is getting really hot in here again. Hopefully you guys don't hear the fan. So, going back here, let's scroll down there. So, let's just open up a text thing. I'm just doing something like that very, very quickly because then I can just do that for you guys so you can read. Okay, assumptions. URL will contain destination. Yep. URL potentially can contain location ID, child destination, and child ID. Don't worry about all that going off the screen. So what I need to do is permission checks. Check for just destination. Check for destination and location ID. Check for child object destination with destination. And then check for child object destination and child ID with dest. All right, so what we could potentially do is write 4 new checks, which won't hurt at all. And we shouldn't do this at the API sort of level. We should rename this permission, this decorator. So I'm just going to scroll up. I'm just going to say destination permission. Easy done. We're going to say object permission. And we've hit some ads, and I'm thinking child destination and child object permissions. And then what I can do is I can document this whole process, why we're doing it like that and why we're splitting it up. there are good reasons why we want to split all of this up. It just makes it a lot easier for us to manage it, and that way we don't have complex logic in the permissions itself, considering one endpoint will only use a certain pattern. It's not going to be changing. We don't need to figure out, oh, is this going to be a parent or a child, or and so forth like that. So yeah. Now that being said, we do have a bit of object data which is used to manipulate certain data. For example, you might want to add a customer to a project or something like that. In which case, yeah, there's a particular endpoint for that. In which case, then yeah, that might need to actually check the. Yeah, that might need to actually check both the child and the. All right. Yeah, permissions were always a bit crazy in NearBeach. Yes, I know. Why are you doing it like that? I don't know. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, there we go. So now that I've said that out aloud, we might still just need one or two of these. So I'm just thinking out aloud. We can easily determine if something is a child, if the destination. So I'm racking my brain around this process and how I would tackle it. Worst case scenario, what I could potentially do is go crazy. It's always on the table. Alright, I'm overthinking this. All child components rely on their parents' permission. So we don't need to worry. Alright? These two down here, check child object permissions and stuff like that. No! We're checking the parent. The parent will be in the URL. Now that being said, if you're adding, for example, a customer to a child component, that will still come through. It's just me getting that extra layer. So I just need to check for destination, check for destination location ID. And then I just need to do something smart for checking for the child components. Which I'm sure we can do. Yeah. Now, last time what we did was we had partials to check for permission. So what actually happened was, because of all the different field names and so forth like that between each table, we had to separate it all out. Otherwise, it was going to be a confusing mess, and I didn't want to deal with a confusing mess. I rather did with partials and so forth like that. In this sort of case, hopefully we don't need the partials. Let's just say that. The next case we need to do is think how we're going to solve for looking up child object. So what actually happens, you come in, you submit a child object, the system will then look at the parent object and determine the your permissions around that. Now, I'm just having a good think here. And another thing that has popped up in my head is Django decorators class. Sorry, that was a random thought. Because if I built it as a class... And GB, how are you going? I don't think a class will help in this sort of case. Because they should all be functions. But it has been a very long time since I read the documentation. And there could be something better. So I'm just going to... read the documents. Oh yeah, let me click that. App required HTTP. All right, custom. I want custom decorated. You're okay? Oh, that's good. I can't complain. Just getting annoyed at a few things. Like when I go to click a link and the page just shifts. All right, it is that part of that one. Ugh. Alright, we'll probably also need cache. Oh, no, I don't want caching with the API. Yeah, I had a problem before where in Rider, you've got some arrows and you go and click on the arrows, and if you're off, but you have to be really on the icon for it to open. And if you miss it, it closes the whole thing, and it's just like, just fuck off. Just, oh. Alright. This is nothing about our own custom decorators. Alright. Playing around with. Oh, sorry. Alright. Not what I wanted. Alright, Django. Does Django not have any documentation around this? I'm just doing testing tonight while I wait on build. Oh, fair enough. Oh, I'm so sick of Medium. Alright, I'm guessing we can't do the decorators as classes. That's perfectly fine, so I'm going to put a pin in that. We'll still use the decorators as methods and so forth at that. So we'll have the destination permission, which we'll be used in cases where we won't have an ID. For example, create. Found a new browser API. Ooh. And we'll use the object permission when we know what the object is going to be. So where we've got the destination and the ID from the URL. As for dealing with the child components, that will be the object permission. However, that being said, when we go to... That's the problem. When we create something, constant validation API. Oh, what's that? Oh, constraint, not constant. Sorry, I can't read. Okay. I'll bring it. I'm on the wrong screen. Give me 2 secs. Bring that down. I'll close that. Alright, and I'll do this for everyone. Using HTML form validation and constraint validation API, the creation of web forms have always been a complex task, while making a form itself is easy. Checking whether each field has a valid and coherent value is more difficult, and informing the user about the problems may become a headache. HTML5 introduced new mechanisms for forms. It added these semantic types for input, element constraints, validation to ease. Ooh. Okay, I actually might use this with Welk. Cheers. Thank you, GB. I am. Give me a couple of seconds. I can't show all of production. Check using check all elements, use constraint validation. All right, done. Yeah, cheers, thank you. Oh, we're happy with that. I'm leaving that one open because I know I might have another thing come through. So, destination permission. I'm just thinking, if we've got object data, I'm going to have to bring up an example. So we've got destination, location, groups, and users. But then we've got the destination location in that, and that's pretty easy to get out of the URL. Yeah, that's not going to be a problem. Got available data customer list. Available data sprint list, available data tag list. Those are just endpoints. That's perfectly fine. We don't need to do much. We've got coffee, we've got Kanban board, we've got organization. And then the setup will be like, you've got the parent and then the customer will be the child element of it. However, that being said, I think those are two separate permissions. So you got requirement item. Yep, that's how we want it set up. It's just when we just thinking how we would do this. All right. Before I get too far, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to paste it here. We're just going to go destination permission. And we're just going to write out what we think it's going to do. We're just going to get, this is the minimum functionality that this does. This really doesn't do much. What we want to do is this is a decorator for checking the user's permission when no location ID is supplied. Alright. It's relatively straightforward, so hopefully it, yeah. It does look it. Method 1. Obtain the destination from the URL. 2. If destination, make sure destination actually exists. I mean, at this particular point, we've gone through the routing, so we can assume it exists. The routing will fail if it didn't exist. Actually, that will be 2, not 3. Check destination to see if it is a child object. If child object, get parent. For check parent permissions against user permissions. All right, so from there it gets very, very simple. I'm also trying to remember this URL file. Yeah, we've got get data, we've got documentation. Documentation is a good one. So with documentation, when a user's posting something, that could happen at, let's say, a change task or something like that. They might be writing out a change task and they're pasting an image into the description. The documentation, the destination itself would actually be that change task. And then the location ID. The idea with that is so it actually gets linked to the correct object. And now I'm trying to remember how we set up the tables for that. I didn't open up that data grip. Fucking hell. Alright, so what we need in here is documentation. So we've got the document. That's perfectly fine. That's just the basic sort of document itself. And then it's the document permissions. Yeah, where we set all the potential objects that it could be linked up against. Alright, so check destination to see if it is a child object. Get parent and use that as destination. And then this one is check Users permissions against said destination. Alright, so decorator for checking the user's permission when no location ID is supplied. Method, obtain the destination from the URL. Check object destination to see if it is a child object. The child object get parent. Alright, cool. And then check user's permission against said destination. Sweet. Yep, so it's going to be that simple. Now, in reality, we can just use a dictionary object very quickly to go from child to parent. It's small enough that it'll be quick enough. There won't be any if statements or anything like that. Now, also originally, when we were doing a lot of these tests and stuff like that, if we go into object data, sorry, that's API. If we go into the permissions, we go into the let's go into this one in here. We passed through what we wanted. We checked this. We checked all of that. It was very messy. Oops, I was meant to click on raw, not edit. So it was very, very messy in here, and it just got the... So the idea now is we want to create a dictionary. Kind of like that. So the idea is you put in China, it goes Beijing. You put in US, it does that. So it's just like that. All right, let's I'm just going to minimize everything. I'm just going to open up this. We've got NearBeach. We've got the utils. It's not an enum, but we do actually have an object dictionary already. However, that being said, I do believe this is old. We're going to be replacing this. In fact, none of this should work. And we've got the object status dictionary where we were doing a bunch of connections and stuff like that. This one... I don't think we're using anywhere, so I'm just going to delete that. We can bring the code back in, that's perfectly fine. And then what we want to do is we want a new folder. We're going to call it dictionary. We're going to do an init in there. I'm just going to open up a new tab. I'm just going to go source VM bin activate. All right, cool. We're just going to go Python 3 manage shell. And the idea is if I have, let's say, a equals that, and then we'll have an object like project, it will just spit out project as the permission. But if I have an item that says change task, it will spit out the request for change, like so. So just like that, we can just go project, mark up and fat finger all I want, and it'll come out as project. And if we go a request for change, change task as the child object, we get request for change as a parent object. I think that's how simple we want to keep it. And what we could do is we could call it object to permission set mapping. And object to permission set mapping. It's just going to be like that. All we got to do is let's permission set. Let's undo the file mask. Actually, let's do py. Like this. So I'm just going to put this over on the left. Oh, sorry, the right. I didn't pass grade school. Bug client is no more. Alright, so going from the top, we'll have customer will equal customer. We're happy with that. The Kanban board will equal the Kanban board. We're happy with that. The Kanban card is going to be the Kanban board because we want that higher permission. However, that being said, there is a permission level for the Kanban card in here. No, it should be done at the board level. Yeah, no, I made that decision a long time ago. Organization will be organization. The project, the request for change will be the request for change. The requirement will be the requirement. The task will be the task. I'm going to exclude tag for the moment. And yeah, we could potentially use this in multiple places. So I'm just thinking ahead how I'm going to code all of this. Now another thing is I am missing a few in here. So the Kanban board and Kanban card will go to the board. Organization, yep, that's perfectly fine. Project, yep, that doesn't have any. This has change tasks. So up at the top we want change task. And that's going to be request for change. So when this comes through, we go, all right, cool, we've got a change task. What's our parent? What do we need to check on? So I'm just giving a good think. So request for change, requirement, we need requirement item. And that will map back to requirement. Task, yep, we're fine with task. Just give me 2 seconds. Sorry, I'm just having a look. So we've checked that, we checked that. Sprints will be different. I see I haven't actually done anything for sprints yet. And, we've just hit another ad break. I'm just looking something up very, very quickly. I'm just looking at my own permission sets. We've got object permission, Kanban boards, Kanban cards. Yeah, we never use the Kanban cards permissions. And that's the thing is... The idea being is it doesn't make sense you can edit the Kanban board but not the cards. Or vice versa, you can't edit the board and none of the cards. Projects, tasks, requests for change, requirements. All right, so requests for change and requirements, we've got those their children in there. And then we've got a bunch of other sort of things like grant notes. That's really refined. Configure bug clients, we're getting rid of that. That's going. Configure tags, that's a separate thing in itself. That will be a special permission. We can write that as a unique decorator for that class, that API endpoint. Configure scheduled object, yeah, that's a separate thing. Once again, we can do a special permission for that. So those I'm not too worried about. Yeah, all right, so object to permission set mapping, I'm happy with. And yeah, each one of these will map to a field against the permission set. And then it's just a simple formula for us to actually get the maximum of that. And we use that permission. All right, I like that. We do have a special case when we're trying to create something. I've just thought of it then. So if you knew the API, you could send groups. You can create a new project for a group you don't have permission with. That being said, what I can do is after these decorators, it's a very specific type of permission, which is going to be really annoying. I'm just going to have to send back a 300 error. Sorry, not 300 error, 403 error, in that sort of case. Or permission denied error after the fact. So I'll do a check that does a specific, yeah, all right, cool. And that way I can keep this generic as much as possible. Yes, Socks, you want to come up? Meow. All right, say hi to stream. They're good. They're there today. All right, so I'm happy with that at the moment. Don't think I need to do anything else with that. So we've got the destination one. If I go import the object to permission set mapping. Oh, hang on. From NearBeach.utils. Piss off. Kind of dictionary. Object import object I think that name's just got to stick, sadly. So it comes through, obtain the destination from the URL. So what we could potentially do is, well, this could be a utility. Oh, we've got child object. It's child object. Yep. We knew about that one. I'm not going to touch that one at all. All right. I mean, that could go under API. I know, Socks, I know. I just can't make up my mind today where I want to put stuff. Alright, I forgot where I was. So we're in here, we're obtaining the destination from the URL. Alright, cool. Get destination.py. What we'll have in here is just a simple function, def get destination from URL. And we'll key through a URL. And what we'll do is utility function to obtain the destination from the URL. Alright, it's as simple as that. Assuming the URL will be in the following patterns. API, version 1, destination. API, version 1, destination, / location ID. API, version 1, destination / location ID / child destination. Oh, and I should go like that. All right, and then I'm just going to be lazy and do that, and then go child location ID like that. All right. This is just to tell the user exactly what we're going to be doing with this. Socks, will you stop sitting on my mouse? I will unplug it in a minute and then just use keyboard shortcuts to get everywhere. And it's going to be annoying for you and me. And then I just need methods. Split URL by. All right, cool. No, I'm going to do something different. Trim start URL from trim character from the start of the URL. We're doing that to be consistent. If we get rid of it, and there wasn't one there already, yeah, it's just for consistency. 2, split URL by character. 3, return the third position. We could I'm trying to think. We could potentially return multiple different characters. We could potentially return all of them. In which case, we could still utility function to get the destination location location ID, child destination, and child location ID from the URL. But that being said, I think we just need the destination. Let's keep this one simple. let's not overcook this function, because we can write another function for this. Return the third position, which will be the destination. All right, cool. This is just a quick and simple utility, and this is where I've got to look up Python string trim start. Sorry. No, not what I wanted. Remove first character if /. For example, my string starts with I wanted to remove only that. There are several where it shouldn't be removed. The problem seems unclear. All right. Else strip A. Yeah, I just want to do the first character. All right. Python trim start with character. Because there's a trim start in .NET. There's else strip, mix path, else strip, output. All right. I only want to remove the first one. This is where we go back to this. We're just going to go A equals, and we've got API version 1, and then we've just got project like that. All right, so if we go B equals L strip and we just do that, okay, that's what we want to do. All right, cool. URL equals url.l strip. Yep, all right, cool. And then we just want to do that, the split. We should do an R strip at the end too, because we got that last. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And then we want to do a split. This is where we want to handle any error cases. So if the length of the URL is less than 3, in this case it'll be 4, in which case I do want to actually strip that last one. It's less than 3. We want to return none. Else we're returning the URL and we're returning the third instance. And that's it. So I should write down here, check to make sure we are correct. I mean, also I can strip the API from here. I think having it like that is perfectly fine, because that will also work in cases where we've got A equals API version 1 let's say project, let's say number 3 and stuff like that, and we go b equals a dot l strip / dot r strip. Can't do that properly, like that, and then we've got b like that, and then we can go b dot split by that, and that will work perfectly fine. Yeah, so we kind of want to do that. And we're only going to use this on the API, hence we actually got this in the API itself, which is why I'm tossing up whether or not to put that into the API. However, I can see I can use that elsewhere, kinda, and I'm like, oh, did I want to do that? So, I am. I'm just going to get rid of it. All right, cool. Getting back into this. I'm going to remove that one. We've got the destination permission. So we can easily do that now. So we go from nearbeach.utils.api .get destination, import the get destination from URL function. We're happy. We're like, yeah. Our next thing we want to do, check if destination is a child object. If it is, we want to actually get that mapping. So from nearbeach.utils.api.object set mapping, that's the dictionary that we want. So we can get the destination, and then we can get the parent destination from that. In reality, we could do that all in one line, so that's not going to be a problem. If the child object, get the parent object as the destination, easy done, and then check the user permissions against said destination. All right, so in here, what we want to do is I'm just going to go destination equals get destination from URL. This is where we've got to pass through the URL. This is where I'm not 100% sure how we're going to do it. So I'm going to boot up the server again, hope that I didn't break anything in the meantime. I'm going to do that. We're back over here. So we've got request. And I just need the URL from in here somewhere. Won't be under... Oh, that's what I was talking about before with the frickin'... I'm just going to right-hand click. Can I watch something? Can I... Oh, it's down here. I'm just going to... Sorry, this is tiny, tiny text. I do apologize. We've got the request. I'm going to open up the request down here. Even for me, it's tiny. We've got authenticators. Yeah, no, that's not what we want. Oh, that's the parser context. We've got the parsers. That's not what we want. We've got the query parameters. That's not, has no data in it whatsoever. The user won't contain that information. All right. Content type, not what we want. I'm just wondering if we need that and then that, and no, that keeps going down. Wondering where all of this is. I'm gonna have to look this up. So this is Django request get URL. We don't need the full one. Not what we want. Not what we want. Alright, this is... Is it part of path? I didn't see path on there though. But if I hit play, what I can actually do is I can go path equals request.path. If that's it and the debugger isn't showing us that option in there, then alright, let's try it out. Path. That's it. Alright. So we go back here. That will be request.path. We can go into the utilities and just say we are expecting a string, which is what I want to do. Alright. And then, oops, I want to also state that the user should expect a string back. This is where I need Python type hinting def on our methods. I'm just going to use this. I thought I did that. Oh, I did the equals, not the... Sorry, yeah. Alright, cool. The reason why I'm doing all these types is to essentially help users be like, oh, okay, cool. I key in a URL string and I get a string back. This is all we're going to be doing. Yeah, this is it. Oh, string or none. Not none. None. Alright, so they expect a string or none. We've still got a... Oh, yeah, we're going to do a couple of checks and stuff like that. And that's perfectly fine. We can do that. So going in destination permissions, what we want to do is we get the URL, get the destination, and then if destination is none, what we want to do is return raise. Oh, does Django have raise error? Probably not what I wanted. I'm just going to look at my old code. Alright, we've got the API, blah, blah, blah. No, we wanted the decorators. We didn't want the partials. We wanted, yeah, let's just look at this particular one. We've got the decorator. We're going to say raise permission denied. Alright. Permission denied. Oops, sorry, I was meant to actually not hit escape for that. That was meant to be import local name. I'm going to lean on the REST framework version of this because the vast majority of what's hitting these permissions will actually be the REST framework and not the Django side of things. The Django permissions themselves are a lot lighter than this. So if there's no destination, we're just going to go, cool, nothing. Then what we want to do is if child object get parent destination. So destination equals, and we're just keying that through. Now in the case of, let's go A equals Bob burgers, like this, and you go, all right, cool, I'm looking through the dictionary for that. And we do, let's say B equals a Sally, I'm gonna have a I don't like that. I don't like that at all. It's gonna crash. We're gonna get a 500 issue if I've screwed up the mapping. All right. What I'm going to do is get object permission set. And then what we have is destination. That's going to be a string. We're going to send back a string. What I want to do then is probably change that to mapping, but make it so it's underscored. That way, when people look at this, they're like, oh, that's actually a private sort of thing. And I'm like, yes, we don't want people accessing it. So what I want to do is a simple try. And that's going to do that. As simple as that. That's it. Accept is just going to return a none. Now, I don't have logging on here. We could import logging. I'd rather Django handle it. So loggers debug will be doing an error, or a critical, I should say. Cool, just give me code. I don't care. Import logging, I don't care. Just give me code how I can log. Alright, I just don't care. Import logging I don't care about the config. I just want to log something. Oh, is that it? Alright. Let's just do that. So, at the top, we want to import logging. And then it's logger equals... Alright, cool. I just want to keep this sort of private, telling no one to use it. In this sort of case, I've also got to do a none here. We'll be doing a type check. Logger error. We want to state get object. So I'm going to go get object permission set, unknown destination. All right, cool. And then we're going to do key error, and just keep in the, not the keyword, sorry, the key error, like that. I think that should be good. Oh, we're in an ad break, oops. Sorry about that, there it Socks. All right, she's looking majestic, as always. All right, we've got about 15 seconds left of the ads. I'm going to close the curtains. And let's get back into it. Welcome back. All right, cool. So we've got a bunch of stuff now in there. I'm happy with that if it works. Famous last words. So what I want to do is now with the destination permissions, I'm just going to stop this. Just going to close that. So we've got the destination permissions. This no longer works. This is now get object permission set, which is great. We can go down here and go get object permission set. And then if we go, if destination is none, raise permission denied. That way the user just gets a permission denied because we can't find the permissions anyway. It does fail in the permissions itself. And I'm handling the errors. So now, from here, we just need to check, thank you Socks, we need to check to see if the user's got permission on that permission set. So originally, oh yeah, we went to generic permission, all that kind of fun stuff. This is where it got really complicated. It was like, oh. So if it had a location ID, which this one doesn't, so it'll be user level equals aggregate, all of this sort of stuff. This is just for generic destination permissions. We're not doing a specific task in here. And that's also other things that I've got to double check is if they're doing, for example, read-only users, you can actually give them the ability to upload images or upload notes and stuff like that, in which case we need another set of decorators potentially for that. However, we'll pass through the exact permission thing and hopefully make it as the functionality as generic as possible. That will be happy with it. Yes, you know I'm going to put my arm right there. So what we want to do now is we want to do this. However, if you have a look down here, the user group level results, that is just this. And we're just going to do that again. We're just pasting stuff in. And we're having a look at what we're doing. In this sort of case, we don't have IDs or anything like that. We will need the max passing through. And we'll need this all set up. And we'll need the user groups. We don't have the username. We do. It should be that. Should be that. One problem is in the old version, depending if we were using the API or something else, it hit the user at a different level, which is really annoying. So we'll have that. And then the other thing which we should do, so we'll have the aggregate, we'll pass through the max, so the permission sets in this just become destination now because we've done that mapping. We don't need to worry about any of this because that happened up here. So get object permission set, easy done. That will pass through like this. This is, yeah, destinations permission. It should be more generic destination. That's okay. So then we have the user results. And if we have a look down here, with user results, extra level equals false. Yeah, we're passing back the user level. And yeah, there's a bunch of stuff we had to do to work around stuff. Yeah, I'm purposely working on improving the permissions. I don't know. And welcome. Oops, sorry, socks, I didn't mean that. Yeah, I know. Alright, so we can actually do this here. Check the user permissions at this level. That will then be I'm actually going to put a little breakpoint here. I'm going to start putting this on places. Just because I want to double check what's coming out. We're going to copy this. We're going to go back. Yeah, we're going to go back into here. We're going to change that. Just need to import it. I can get rid of that. And we're just going to play it. List index out of range. All right, not a problem. My guess is it's happening here. So I'm just going to refresh again. There you go. It is. Oh no, that's the soundtrack. Oh. Oh, all right. Hang on. Something's gone wrong. List. Get destination line 27. All right, so we're here. Get destination from URL. All right, let's try that again. But this time we're jumping down. All right, go down. All right, so we're stripping this. So the length is 3. So if we go A equals A, B, C, like that, and we go A 0. Yeah. I did a silly. If we refresh that now, we should step over. We then get the destination. Yep, easy done. One thing which I do want to do in here now is I do actually want to import logging, and then logger equals something like that. And then we're just going to do a try. Exception, value error. That'll be a return none. However, we need a logger dot error. I'm going to use an f value in here. We're going to do this where the URL is that, and then the value error is going to be value error, like so. All right, easy done. Yeah, I might as well put error logging in whilst I'm doing all this. I'm just going to hit refresh. Hopefully it comes back. Play 1,000 times. I'm going to remove these breakpoints because clearly I have a problem. Awesome. So going back here, I'm going to hit play on that. I'm just going to hit refresh once. So we go into here. We've got the user group results, and we're just going to hit 4. All right, cool. So it is user group results. We're going to do that. And then if user group result is less than the min permission level, what we want to do is raise permission denied. All right, like so. We're all happy with that. I'm just gonna hit play. That's a very nice looking decorator compared to what we used to have it. Yeah, I've just got to remember how to do this properly. So, okay. So I'm happy with this. I'm going to get rid of the other decorator very, very quickly. So we want decorators, we want this. I'm going to get rid of API permission. And the reason being is I don't want to confuse everything. Oh, piss off. All right, cool. So I'm just going to grab all of those. I'm going to open up this. I'm just going to paste this in for the moment, and we're going to change stuff. So this will be object permission. It'll be very similar to the decorate, the other one, the destination, but we're now looking at an object level. So we're going to get an object, and from the object we're going to get the parent and all that kind of fun stuff. So from here, what we want to do is, so we've got inner destination, decorator for checking the user's permission. All right, cool. Decorator for checking the user's permission on an object where location ID is known. All right, so collect the destination from the URL with the location ID. So we'll have another utility function for that. It is going to be pretty similar to the last one. Yeah, pretty similar to the last one, because we'll just grab it out of the function. Now that I'm thinking about it, our other API points won't have any of that. Shoot. Okay, not a problem. I just realized our our other API points might have a problem. Yeah, sucks. I will figure something out. Might be one of those cases that I end up extending that functionality. At the moment it's simple, but I might extend it for different cases. So yeah, alright. Are you gonna... Alright. Yeah, rubbing your butt. Alright. Yeah, she's a bit meowing today. Oh, that reminds me. I will be right back. I do need to shut my door. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, so I'm going to keep these decorators as simple as possible. I think with the utilities we can add the complexity in there depending on what the URL is. I think that is going to save me a lot of headache when it comes to the decorators, because by God, I hate these permissions. Just because the decorators themselves are a dog's breakfast. Not fun at all. Oh, thank Christ. All right. Different music. All right. So, object permissions going to be slightly different. We're just going to go in here, decorators for checking that. So, obtain the destination and location ID from the URL. We could just get the object. That's the thing. But getting the destination location ID would be good. And then what we can do is obtain the object using the destination and location ID. Alright, cool. From there, we've got to check destination to see if it is a child object. That one we've already got right there. That's perfectly fine. If child object, get the parent and use that as the destination. All right, cool. Use object ORM. Check the user permissions against said destination with check the user's permission against the object. Now, we don't actually need to get the object. No. No, we don't. All right, 1. Obtain the destination location ID from the URL. Sweet, we're going to have a utility for that. Check the destination to see if it is a child object. All right, cool. If child object, get parent and use that as the destination. Oh. This is the one case where we probably do need to get the object because, for example, if you've got a Kanban card, inside the Kanban card table is the foreign key to the parent object, the Kanban board. And we need the Kanban board's ID also. So if child object, get the parent and use that as the destination. Give me 2 seconds. I'm hearing a cat door. Fox, come on. All right. Alright. You are inside. Yes, I know you're complaining. There we go. You will get treats. Give me 2 seconds. In your bed. No, good. Alright, you came in. All right, so if child object, what we need to do is get the parent's destination and location ID. That's going to have to be a utility. Not hard for us to do. Not hard at all. Then check the user permissions. All right, cool. So most of this will change. Let's not lie. So get the destination and location ID. Will quite literally be destination and location ID equals get destination and location from URL. I mean, this is where we go back to get destination. And it is as simple as just modifying this. And the coding guy, how are you? I am refactoring, aka deleting all my old decorators that were used for checking permissions, and I'm rewriting them using the new database structure. I'm trying to make it so that the decorators themselves are lean and mean and don't have complex logic in it, whereas these utilities, yeah, it's fine if they've got a little bit of complexity in them. Now, if the URL is less than 3, we return none because we expect that to actually happen. If the URL equals 2, this is where we'll add in destination only, where if the length of the URL equals 3, otherwise we return URL 2 and URL 3. Sorry, it's gonna be like that. Oh yeah, it wants, all right. In this sort of case, this particular function is quite literally stating it's only get destination. I mean, we can do another one called get location or get object from URL. I think get object from URL would be good. We can keep it in this one thing. I'm happy to keep it in here. That's not going to be a problem. It's going to be very, very similar to this. We'll just go get object from URL. This is also when we go Python type hinting with multiple return values, because I've never done this before. So tuple. All right. I'm just going to copy that for reference. I'm just going to shove this down here. That's perfectly fine down there for the moment. We'll get to it. So get objects. So you just utility function to get the function to object the destination, to get the destination from the URL, to get the object details from the URL. All right, assuming will be the following patterns, like so, method trim, return the third, fuck off, return the third and fourth positions, which will be the destination and location ID. Alright, so we go through all of this. This is where I start doing this. So we need a tuple string. Alright, cool. This is where you know I can't spell. T-U-P-L-E. So we'll have a string or none and a string or none going through. Now we'll try it. The URL will split if it's less than 4. We're going to send back a none on a none. The reason being, we're only using this to get the 3 and 4th position, which is why we're doing it like that. And then down here, we just go URL 3. That's all good. What I've got to do is I've just got to copy that error. I've got to place it into there for logging purposes. I'm happy with this. Then it's like user and domain. Yeah, all right, cool. That one will return none and none. All right. So it'll be the destination and location ID, and I don't know how I can key that information in here. Like, yeah. All right, we've just hit another ad break. Jesus, that was quick. All right. I was hoping to get this done and just working all on the API this evening, but no, I have to think about a lot of how this all conjoins together. I want to get the permissions done first. That way we can, when we actually do the project API, we can quickly get out all the unit tests for it. And once we're actually happy with how it works, a lot of that framework will be copied and done for tasks, because it will be very, very similar. And then once that's all done, we'll then do it for other objects, and so forth like that. We'll do it for the more complicated objects. I've also got to think about cases like sprints are a bit different. Yeah, I think we're going to implement sprint permissions too. Just because they are their own thing. They're not a child object. They just link to other objects. So yeah. And welcome back, everyone. So getting back into this, with essentially, I'm happy with that. So I'm happy with both of those. What we want to do now is, it's not the destination permission. I'm going to close a couple of this. It's the get destination permission. So, sorry, wrong one. It is, my God, my brain. Create will be destination. Destroy won't be destination. That will be object permission. List will be destination permission because that's looking at everything. Object permission is partial update. Retrieve is, yeah, object permission. All right, cool. So yeah, got that set. So now they're pointing out the right things. Now I need to look at the object permission. So the inner is get the destination and location ID. So we're going to go get the destination and location ID equals get object permission set. So that will be request.path. Alright, so if we go into object permission, sorry, not object permission, sorry, that's the get destination stuff. That will be, sorry, I'm screwing this up. I just need to import that. All right, so we should get the destination and location ID from the URL. All right. We still need to do this check. So if the destination doesn't exist, we are going, nope, we're walking out. No. There'll also be an or. Location ID is none. All right, so if either one of them are none, we're walking out. We're going, nope. Get parent destination. Oh, this is going to be get object permission set. Okay, so this is, I've just got to think through this. Once again, I want to move this out of the utility. Sorry, out of the decorator into a utility very, very quickly. Hell, these might actually just turn into services. Now that I'm thinking about it, these are more like services. Okay. So we've got a destination and we've got a location ID. I need to see if it's a child component. And we actually have, I did see this just before, is child object. And that's it. So change task, Kanban card, requirement item, and sprint. Ooh, yeah, sprint will be. Yeah, no, I'm calling it. I'm going to say. I've just put in the permission set sprint. Because yeah, we don't want anything overly complicated when it comes to sprints. Essentially, they can be connected to a project and a task, and what will actually happen is you've definitely the sprint. I can then run a secondary permission check within the sprint API that actually checks the correct object that sprint is going to be connected to, and so forth like that. So I'm getting rid of sprint from here. So it's going to be change task, Kanban, and requirement items are the only child components. And then this one, we're going to do that. That's how we're going to do it now. So yeah, it does require, and we'll need to document this when we actually release. Users will need to actually update the permission sets. They shouldn't have too many permission sets to enable the sprints. And hell, you might set it as default as 0 and then add in a permission set with 3 or 4 or something like that. And only give that to users that you want to actually have access, to have the sprint access to. Yeah. All right, so going back into this, so we've got our object permission. What we want to actually do is, we're on line 30. We're keeping that one in for the moment. So from NearBeach.util API, this is actually is child object, import is child object. So we go down here, we're going to go if is child object the destination. Get the parent destination if required. What this will be is this will be something like that. I'm just wondering if I do the get in here. It is a single utility file. No, I'll leave that in here, as simple as that. We've got the get destination from in here. So I'm just having a good think how I want to actually do this. Yep. So the idea is I could create a get parent object or get parent destination. Now it's only going to be for 3 cases. Yeah, sorry, I'm just having a good think. I mean, it could go in here because we're doing the check. How we could put the check in here. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna rename this. Get parent object, what we have is a destination. That's going to be a string. We'll also have a location ID. That's going to be a numbers. Give me 2 seconds. Python type hinting numbers. All right. It's going to be, yep, that's what we want. Tuple string none. And no, it will be an int. Or a none. Yep, all right, cool. So what we want to do is we want to get parent object from the destination and location ID. And then what I'm going to do, method 1 check if object a destination is a child object. If it is not, return destination and location back. All right, cool. 2, fetch the object. 3, fetch the object. Yep. 3, get the parent object for return the destination and location ID of the parent, because we don't care about anything else. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is going to be that. We're also going to go from NearBeach.models import, and we're only going to import change task, Kanban card, and requirement item. Easy done. We are also going to go this will be underscore object mapping, and that's going to be change task is going to be change task dot objects, Kanban card, objects, requirement item, objects. No, I like it like that. All right, cool. So going down here, once again, we're going to do the try. We're going to do the accept into import. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry about that, just breaking up a small little cat fight. So in here, we need the logging and stuff like that. So we need to import logging, underscore logger, just gonna be that. We're grouping everything up, and then that will be underscore logger dot error. We're just doing it as an F thing. Once again, we're just going to do this. Oops, sorry. I'm just going to minimize this. So get parent object. Failed to import destination. Actually. We've got destination. We've got location ID. And then we'll have the import error. Like so. All right. And then once again, we'll return none. And we'll do those checks too, as you should do. So let's do the try. If not is child object, return the destination and location ID. There's nothing that we need to do. We just move on. Cool. I'm happy with that. The next thing to do is, if that has passed, we need to get the parent object. So that would be that dot get and location ID. Then what we need to do what's the difference between capital F and lowercase f? I don't think there is a difference. There's no difference whatsoever, according to this. I explained in prep specification, both are accepted and should not differ. Yeah, in this sort of case, I just got shown it with a capital F and kept doing it like that. So yeah. Yeah. All right, so we got the parent object. We get that from there. we'll need to import another thing. So from nearbeach.utils.api.get. Oh, sorry, that will be object permission set mapping. I want to get that once again, like that. All right. So what I want to do is I want to go parent destination equals get object permission set, and we're passing through that, so we get the parent. So if it's a Kanban card, it'll come through as a Kanban board. And damn it, Nightbot's winning again. Damn it, I dropped my pen. Sorry, I'm getting very distracted. It's late at night. I've been thinking all day. Yeah, stand desk. I like it. I was getting restless before sitting down, so here I am. So yeah. Alright, so we've got the parent object, we've got the parent destination. I need to get the ID from the parent object. And this is where I know it's possible, and I just need to figure that out. Alright, so I'm gonna go from NearBeach import project. All right. From nearbeach.models import project. All right. Cool. Model projects. If we go a equals project.object.get, and we go pk equals 1. I can't spell, can I? We've got our A there. This one doesn't work. All right, hang on. Sorry. From nearbeach.models import Kanban card. There we go. A equals Kanban card.objects.get, and then pk equals 1. All right, easy done. So there's our card. Now our parent one is going to be .kanban board inside it like that. And I'm just wondering if we can go A, and that doesn't work, but we can go A dot, not attribute, damn it, brain, come on. I've only been, working for 12 hours. Oh, annotate. We can't use, no, we can't, damn it. Django RM object get field using variable. I know this is possible. Get attribute. Alright, so it is the object A, and then we want the Kanban board from there, and that's what we want to do. All right. So there's the object mapping. Oh, what am I thinking of? We've already got... Object, no. We've got the child, that's the child object. I should, oh God. Child object, there we go. All right. Oh, socks. I'm gonna, she's throwing it on a rug, it's fine, I'll wash it later. Other things which I realized that I need to actually do. So I need to go is deleted equals false, pk equals location ID. So that's the child object. We're just making sure that we've got the child. We then, if we don't have the child object, we send back none. Same with the parent destination, so we can do that all in one giant big check. If child object equals is none, or parent destination is none, we just return none. All right. Oh, fuck off. Sorry, I hate the autofill sometimes. I've got to turn them completely off. Yeah, sometimes when you create a new line, it sticks it out at the very, very start. You go to hit tab, it just auto-completes stuff, and you're just like, just go away. Get child object and parent destination. And then from here, get the location ID. So we'll have the parent object equals child, it'll be get attribute child object and parent destination. Then the location ID equals the parent object.pk. Return. If parent object is none, we return none and none. That line we don't need. We now need to go return, and it's not that. Thank you very much. It will be parent destination, not location ID. It'll be parent object.pk. Return the parent destination and parent ID. And that's it. So yeah, glad that I've shoved it in something like this. How's the vomit? She's just stuffed her face. All right, so that's not too bad. That's quite easy. The method's up there and stuff like that, so not too overly complicated. We've got everything sort of locked down here. Then now we need to go back to the object permission. So this will be destination and location ID equals the that will be the get parent thing. So that will be get parent object, and we'll be passing through the destination location ID. We do need to import that through. Expected int. Alright, so I've got a bit of type hinting problem, but first, yeah, we're just on another ad break. I've got to clean up whatever socks left there. I'm terribly sorry. I'll be right back. where the paper towels are, so. Damn it, sucks. Alright. We've got about 30 seconds left of the ads. How's everyone's night going? Everything's just breaking around me, so... what is the time? It is 9:20. I'm going to try and get these permissions done. That way we can at least start the API process. At least write out what we need to do with the API process. So, yeah. Alright, welcome back everyone. Let's jump straight back into it. So, over here, we've got all of this. I do have one check here. Now, this is saying, coming back, saying, oh, this is getting a string. Sorry, that's meant to be an int. Easy mistake. Bit of type hinting fun. So we get here. Now, I'm actually going to paste this after this. Check the destination and location ID. So we're making sure that we're getting what we want. If these are none up here, it'll still spit out none back here, and then it'll hit this, and everyone's like, yeah. Alright, so we've obtained the destination location, check the destination if it's a child object. If a child object, get the parent's destination location. And we've done that, check the user's permission against the object, which is what we've got to do now. So, I don't need this. I do need to do that. However, in here, this is user groups. This is where we have to add on one more check in here. And we've got it in the old code. Not that old code, but it's up here. If there was a location ID and not organization, that is that is actually a really good point. Because the organization is one of those objects that is not connected to any groups whatsoever. So down here, we've got group results, we've got that, and then we got these couple of lines in here. So we're going to copy that. We've also got, this is the group filter. This is the user group filter up there. Yeah, this one's a bit different. So object, yeah, we're looking at object assignment filter, and we're looking up that. Now, that being said, it can't. Trying to remember how we did this. So we've got the group results up here. That's how we did it. We used a group. Yep. We combine them in here. And then the group results. So we did a permission check up here, but also at the same time, I think we screwed up because we meant to do the user group results down there. All right, I actually think I found a bug. You okay, Socks? You're like, no, piss off. No. All right. In reality, object assignment, I think I only need this. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Alright. All user group results. So that's going to be user group results equals user group dot objects dot filter is deleted equals false. What do you want? Really gonna make you feeling a bit better. Alright. On you go. And then username equals request.user. Alright, that's what we're going to do. Exclude organization. So if I'm gonna have to scroll like this. Sorry. If destination is not organization. All right, cool. Apply the location ID grouping. That will be object assignment dot filter. Values dot group ID. Right, so with the objects, every object can, like a task will be assigned groups, and that's what this object assignment is for. Thank you, Socks. What we want to do is we are actually filtering out the user group results equals user group results dot filter, and if I do this and this and then like this, and then I'm like group ID in, all I need to do is do that, and then I go destination and location ID, and that's all I got to do. So excluding organization, apply that, and then we'll go down here, and then oh, fuck off. Sorry, it drives me nuts. Down here, we check the user permissions. This is user group results. All right. So, the good news is Django is lazy. It doesn't do stuff until the very last minute that it actually needs to do stuff. So we can modify these ORM queries as much as we want. And just doing this is, we've got the basic sort of one. We're making sure that organizations isn't a part of the destination. If it is, we skip it and we just apply the regular sort of stuff to it. Otherwise, if it isn't, we go, all right, cool. With any groups, we're actually looking at any of the things that are in here. From that particular point, we can actually put in if there are no longer any user groups. Hang on. We no longer need to do any of that. We can just suddenly aggregate any user groups. We return, right, actually, check user group results for any results. So if the length of user group results equals 0, then we return raise permission denied. Then we go through the aggregate of that, and then we do this. Now you might be saying there's a couple of database calls there. Yes, I understand. We are going to be implementing Redis. It being in the middle. Damn it. The idea being with Redis is we are hoping to cache the permissions with exceptions being like if the permissions change for a particular user or anything like that, it'll automatically update the Redis database. However, the vast majority of times it's just going to be read, and the permissions won't change that frequent enough that we don't need to worry about it. So we're going to stick Redis in there, and we've just got to figure out how we're going to do that. But at the moment, we're going to get in the plain old sort of permission check for the database, and then we'll probably end up putting in something like a method or something to check it. I'm not sure. We'll end up just doing something. So yeah, that way the permissions are cached. That way if someone goes in and they're like, all right, cool, I open up this permission, I do this on this project, and then they do something else on the same project, it's not going to query the database again, it's going to query the Redis database, which is in memory, and it's going to be a lot faster. So the permission checking will be a lot faster. All right, so object permission. Oh yeah, we were getting rid of that. We were going to do it like that because we're going to self-contain it in there. We're going to keep it as simple as possible. So yeah, all right. I'm happy with that. We've got the get object from URL, get destination from URL, request path. No, that's no longer needed. It's just that. So these are a lot easier to read now. So we've got the destination, we've got the, yep, all right, cool. If there's none, we just piss off. User group results, yep, we're all happy with that. We do all of that. And yeah, we get the parent object, and yeah, it's looking a lot nicer. A lot better than the dog's breakfast that we had before, where we're having to check fields and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. All right, so I'm happy with that. Yeah, that's pretty basic. Now, if we go back over here, we hit refresh. Boom, we've got that. If boom, page not found. Yeah, that's because we need a / in there. Sorry, I'm a teapot. All right, cool. I'm happy with that. So going from here, we now just need to yeah, we just need to, sorry, my brain's just gone ba-bum. Unit testing and decorator is going to be pretty hard because I need to mock the users. And I need to mock everything. That's not a problem because I can mock that. I can mock. Can I mock those? Wait, Django, Python unit testing mocking. I'm gonna have to sort of read it and stuff like that, but I'll need to do unit tests. A lot of unit tests. The idea being is I definitely want to make sure permissions are tested. So yeah. Yeah, all right. Object assignment, group ID, and also yeah, I needed to do that. Okay. Now I'm at the fun task of writing out the APIs and so forth like that. So straight off the bat, what I want to do is I want to do a generic create. So under our serializers, so I want to go serializers. I want to go. We've got our project serializer, which I'm very happy with. Yeah. We've got the base serializer. Now in here we've got the as write only. However, that being said, it's only ever used in create. Oh, hang on. Yeah, write only. It's only ever used in create. With the patch, it's not going to be used. There's going to be another endpoint for when you modify groups against an object. So, for example, if you were to create a group, put a group against a project, there'll be a different endpoint. You won't be putting it up against this. Same with removing. So there's a different endpoint dealing with the CRUD around the groups and users. So what I'll do is I'll get rid of that. So we'll have description, we'll have an ID, we'll have a title. That's the base of the object itself. With the project serializer, there'll be an organization, there'll be project priority and project status. Now, we're dealing with generics here, so project will no longer be in the name. We'll only have priority and status, and we'll have higher order status. That being said, can that go on the base? And something's telling me no. Yeah, definitely not, because that's unique. And also with the priority, not every single object will have priority. So there'll be tasks will have it, projects will have it, Kanban boards won't. Requirement items won't, requirements won't. So yeah, it makes sense having it here. Kanban cards will. Yeah. But also we've got higher order status, LMNOP, QRS, yep. So we'll have higher order status, which seriously is really pissing me off. That will be an enum field where the enum equals the higher order and that's where I've got to look it up. So if I go project status, I've got to look in the models file. And hey, Hash, how are you going? Apart from autofill pissing me off to God knows what end, I'm doing okay. All right, so we have in here status, foreign key, list of project status. All right, cool. And I'm just going to go to that implementation. List of project statuses. Higher order status role equals object higher order status. So I think I've got to copy that. And I got to paste it in, and I got to import it in. And I think that's it. That's how I would handle that. And this is an enum field, and that will be fine. We've got a default already. It says that you're a first-time chatter here. Yeah. Okay. Ah, okay. Yes, I think I remember you. Yeah. Welcome, welcome. All right. I will need to handle with the create and stuff like that. All of this will be changing, which is fine. So with the get fields, with the patch, with group list, we don't need to worry about it. With the patch, with the organizations, yeah, we'll just pop out that. That's pretty simple. With the update, we're going to be changing that. Yeah, I think I've got to figure out how we're going to do that. Okay, I didn't pass the interview. Sorry to hear. Yeah, how have you been going at least? Have you been having more interviews? Gonna do that there. Right. So we've got a group list. We pop that out. We had nothing in its place. That's when we create. With the create, we're only creating the destination. Yeah. All right. Cool. So validate projects. Yeah, we grab the first status. So the default status. Then we create, yep, we're happy with that. And then from there, we grab a single group, yep. We grab the ID, yep, and we pass it through and we submit, yep, all right, cool. And then we return the project. Awesome. Didn't pass that either. That's fine. Keep at it. Remember, A lot of jobs, a high number of jobs you get is because you've just known someone. There's only been 2 cases where I've got a job where I haven't known someone. So yeah, it's that would be my current job at the moment and the kitchen hand job that I got. So yeah, every other single job I've known someone. So for example, when I started working at the university, I was volunteering there for a bit and networked, and I essentially got someone because I knew someone. I then jumped around in the university at different jobs because I knew someone, and they're like, yeah, we can hire you. And then at my last job, I got it because I knew someone who was going on maternity leave, and they were like, you should take my position. So yeah, my recommendation is essentially go out there and start networking. That's a big driver towards at least getting your foot in the door. And you've got things like Meetup. I'm just gonna go block that. Yep, Melbourne. Let's say Python, because we're working on Python tonight. You would go, oh, okay, cool. There's a Melbourne Python New Year of Coding and Connections and stuff like that. That's on February the 12th. That's on a Thursday night, but my mum is coming around that night, so no. Yeah, you could go and be like, all right, cool. I can go get here and meet a couple of people and stuff like that. So yeah. I should go back to some of these events. And it's just I'm not anywhere near other cities, so yeah. Yeah, that's my recommendation. Okay, so I think the create will work perfectly fine. What I want to do is with the API, we're going to change all of this now. We need the request coming through. We're getting rid of all of that. What we're going to do is serializer equals. Now this is, this is actually not the project serializer. This is actually going to be, I have screwed up, and yeah, I do need group list in there. I just realized that. Because yeah, everything happens at the serializer level, so I do need that in there. Or, hear me out, I'm going to cut it out. No, I'm going to put it in there because it's going to be easier just to remove it with the get field. So if it's a patch, what we want to do, fields.pop, that is going to be group list, and that's just going to be none. That's going to be really the best way of handling that. And yeah, I can't have a generic create object serializer. And what am I working on? I'm working on NearBeach. So for the last couple of months, we have decided to start refactoring NearBeach. We're still working on the old 0.31 version. So if there's any bugs or any issues, we will still fix them and update them whilst we're actually doing this. The idea here is we've refactored and removed quite a lot of technical debt in the system. We're going to continue doing that with the idea being that once it's refactored, it's going to be a lot easier for people to jump in and develop for, and also it's going to be a lot better. So yeah, we're moving everything to the APIs because we can. So yeah. Got a simple REST API system in place. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll implement OAuth. Yeah. So the idea is I'm getting some of the API up, and then from there I am What am I doing? I am slightly bringing back all the NearBeach functionality, which hopefully won't take too long. Hopefully. We all know it would. Or will. So, anyway, we've got 40 seconds left of the ads. This is going to be our last ad break. It's nearly 10 o'clock here. I just want to get some stuff done. That way I can go, cool, and I can start building out the rest of the stuff. So, yeah. The good news is, hopefully, fingers crossed, a lot of the migration to the new way of how things are done is going to be quick and easy, because a lot of the method and business logic is done. It's just where we're calling APIs and stuff like that, and just how things look. So hopefully it'll be a lot simpler. All right. So, if it's a patch, it'll drop the group list and organization. Otherwise, the get won't happen. The post will have it. And those are the only methods we're actually supporting. So if we have a look in here, get won't have it, post will, patch won't because we're removing it, and delete won't because it's a delete functionality. So the serializer in itself will equal the project serializer. We've got the request data coming through. Now I don't think I need to do the context or anything like that with the serializer now. No, I need to actually pass through the context. Alright, so this was a problem we had with the last one. So if we got context equals request, we're just going to do that like that. We're just going to do that like that. How much will it take me to learn React? I've never... Now I do use React every now and then. But I am not a pro of React compared to Vue. That being said, you can quickly do the tic-tac-toe tutorial in probably, depending how well you know JavaScript and stuff like that, in a couple of hours. That will get you started to be building small little tiny things to get to a very high standard of React will take you a fair amount of time. But that being said, a lot of that time you'll be building small little tiny projects and stuff like that. You will, of course, be able to build things without needing to know that much. It depends. It's what I'm trying to say. So as you're sort of learning things, you sort of take steps up. But believe it or not, a lot of the times you're actually ready for work here, ready for work around here, and this is where you'll be a pro, up around here. This is fine. This is perfectly fine. This just makes life a lot easier, but there could be a long time between that and a short time between that. So yeah, my recommendation: start with the tutorials and then start building stuff. Yeah, a lot of the stuff I know translates into React fairly easily. There's a lot of things that I don't know about React, but I don't need them. Because the things I'm building are very, very small. So yeah, I'm probably with React. I'm here. I really am. I'm just ready for work. All right, so we've got the serializer. We're passing that through. Yeah, but also remember, build something with it. So you learn something, build a little tiny project, and then you're like, all right, cool, I'm going to build another tiny project and stuff like that. And you'll start learning little things. Read the documentation will help also. Sure, you can use your chat GPTs and so forth like that, but remember, don't use them as a crutch. Use them as a tool. If you want to learn, reading documentation really does help. Playing around with stuff too, being like, you know what, if I do it this way, will it work? If it doesn't and it fails, you've learned something at least. So yeah, that's how I would do it. All right, if not serializer is valid, what we want to do, we want to return back a response, essentially like this. However, I like to bump it onto lines like this, and this complains. This actually wants me to put it in a I thought so. Oh, it's because I need a none at the very end of the thing. All right, go, not a problem. We'll get to that in a second. Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. Now going with the old one, I'm just gonna jump over here. We got the APIs, we got the little users, we got all the document stuff. This is all the API stuff we're gonna re-implement. And luckily a lot of this will happen very quickly. So we can actually copy quite a lot of this. In here, oh, those are project views. Sorry, wrong ones, not part of the API. Project API view. All right, cool. And once again, yeah, we can copy a lot of this. We'll be copying a lot of the Swagger stuff back into it and updating it as we go along. So with the crate, we've got the serializers. Yep. If not, we need the group list. Well, I think we're not doing that anymore. We no longer need to do the transfer new object upload, or no, we don't need to, because we don't have a description. We don't have any upload functionality for new creations. It's literally just a text string and the groups that the user's been added to, and that's it. So I really rethought how people would want to use NearBeach, and one of the ways is you just create a project, boom, type it out, create, move to the next one, create. And what I could potentially do, this is a future thing. I could make it so if the user only wants selected groups, and we can do that. All right, cool. So we don't need that, which is fine. Create a project is that serializer many equals false, and why am I? No, that makes sense. So we're doing a check for the group list. Essentially, what I'm going to do now is, once again, this is the same code. We've just refactored a bunch of stuff to make it a lot easier. But the skeleton of it is pretty much the same. What we need to do, oh, you son of a gun. All right, check that there exists groups. Now the thing is, with the API, someone could actually do something annoying. They could create a project and key it against other groups. Which would suck. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to create a utility to do that check for us. The idea being is it's going to check all those permissions. So, but we're not going to do that tonight. It is 10 o'clock. We are going to write that down as a to-do. Create a util function that checks all groups submitted by the user. The user has access to. All right. Yeah. It's just something I've got to figure out. And once again, I want to figure it out here because we'll use that same utility elsewhere. The idea being is the user will be, a user might key in the wrong group. We want to send back to that user, hey, you don't have access to this group. If there's nothing in the, if there's nothing in the groups whatsoever, we want to also pop that out and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that will override this functionality, and then we can go and do it as an if statement. Yeah, I like that idea. And it's something we can cache too. So that utility function, we could cache the groups because the user isn't going to be changing groups that often. It's a permission level type of thing. You don't change your permissions too often, so we can cache it. And once again, if the permissions change, we can override that cache. That way, if the user's making multiple objects, the first object will take the longest to create because it's got to do that permission check. But from there, that permission check will be as fast as the RAM can go and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, what I will then do is to do apply Redis cache to this to speed up cache to this check. Because all it really is it'll be user ID, groups ID as user group IDs, and whether or not they have permission, which it will be a boolean. So I think we can cache that. I think we can cache it very well. But first, we'll get out the function, we'll put in the unit test, and then we'll test. Then we'll add in the Redis checks and stuff like that. All right, and then from here we create the project. So this will, yeah, it's doing that again. Frick off. Create the project, and then reserialize the project so it's the same shape for the user. We've got the create project. We send it back to the user. And that's it. That's pretty easy. To destroy, oh, sucks, you've got big stretches there. This is no longer static. I don't know if this is still static. Just. I do know I need a self down here. Oh, get object. Oh, yeah, we don't. Are we? Oh, sorry, be good. Alright, I might need to double check all of that. Why? Okay. I am just going up here. Yeah, there was. Where is that called? Alright, I'm gonna have to go back to my old version, find out what that is actually doing. I think it's pretty easy. We just want to get the object if it exists, and then send back to the user, hey, we've just done this, we've just deleted this. There are other similar calls in here, like we've got this, which I think can get rid of that. So we can easily do that. We can then just go project like this. We can get rid of that, and then we can static method that. But once again, this. There you go. We've got the destination permissions. Oh, because this is a destroy. We want to have a look at the object permissions because you don't want to use it deleting someone else's thing. So it has to be at the object level. And I don't know why we're not passing. We no longer need the self, but we need the PK. We need this. All right, so what actually happens is, we can do that in one line. All right, so we're having a look at every project that isn't deleted. If we've deleted something, can you send through another delete request? You're just going to go 404. What? Then what we do is deleted equals true. We do the project change user equals request user. Yep, so that the change user is updating, and we save it, and then we send back a response, project deleted, no content. And that's it. It's very, very simple. Now we can also do the list one very, very quickly. So what we want to do is we want to go back up, not create, destroy. Oh, here, list. This one's going to be very, very simple too. And hey, the brain's like, this is how you pronounce it. I can't move my mouth to do it. Tantai. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I do apologize if I am well off. Yes, Socks does need some treats. Let's open up this. She knows what's going on. She's looking adorable like always. She knows exactly what's going on now. She's like, yep, stay in your bed. Stay. No, the treats will come to you. There we go. No other cats ran in? Nope. Good girl. All right. Oh, don't get out of bed. No, people are here to see you, Socks. They're not here to see me. In your bed. Good girl. And I'm like, psh, psh, psh. In your bed. Good girl. Stay. All right, cool. There we go. All right, with this one, we do need to look up the object assignment. So I'm just going to hover over that. I'm just going to import it. We do need to look up the user group. So what this does is it looks up object assignment, make sure nothing is deleted, make sure we're looking at the groups, and we've got the valid group ID. So object assignment projects, project ID is in the object assignments that are above. We do need to, and I can see a bug already. We need to do that. So that passes through. Oh, all right. We don't have pagination at the moment. All right. So I'm going to have to implement that at a little bit of a later date. But that's perfectly fine. I do want to get pagination in very quickly. So if I go right here, can't resolve the keyword project ID. Choices are oh, all right. No. Object assignment with the project ID doesn't make sense. Sorry, that gets rid of that. Hang on. No, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. We got change users, date creator, date modifier, date description, date I've made a mistake. We've got object ID, we've got folder ID, we've got all of the other things. Project results is project.objects.filter. I'm silly. All right, cool. This needs to be project ID is null equals false. Down here, we no longer have project ID. We just got ID because we made the tables very generic. We go over here. There we go. Now we've got a request problem. What? All right. Look, careful, Socks. I am working. Exception value request. Okay, I'm just going to put a breakpoint there. We're just going to hit reload. We're going to hit the breakpoint. adds a snooze for 5 minutes. Where serialize is past data, keyword element, you must call is valid. Alright. Yes. So what I need to do is do the serializer. I'm just going to do that, and then I'm just going to refresh. Alright, I'm not going to worry too much about this tonight because, yeah, I need to get the pagination working again. It's 10:16 here at the moment. Let's go raid someone. Togglebit looks like they are running. Well, they're working. So we'll go raid Togglebit. But yes, thank you very much everyone for being here tonight. We got some of the permissions done, which is great. And then hopefully moving forward, we can do some wonderful things. So I'm hoping moving forward we can sort of get the API done quicker and quicker and quicker, with the idea being that once we get projects done, we can get tasks done, we can, you know, move things very, very quickly, and not spend too long rewriting everything. So that's fingers crossed. So yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for being here, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed Togglebit. And for those on YouTube that sadly won't be able to raid with us, thank you very much for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you guys Wednesday.